Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you are well. We have got our 8 p.m. show live here. Obviously, we have got two people on the show tonight. Obviously, as many you guys know them, they have been on the channel before. So we have got Phil. So good evening, Phil.
Hi Dan. Hi Luke.
And hello to as many people, if you used to watch it in lockdown when we had the watch lines, it is Mr. Explosive to in Luke. So, how are you, Luke?
Good evening. Hello. I'm back.
Yeah, you are back. So then, obviously, we were just saying before we came on live. Obviously, I know you two be keeping tabs on pre-season. Now you've been to quite a few games, Phil. Anyway, so how are you finding pre-season?
Well, I think like all pre-season, sometimes you can get off to a great start, win every game, and then get into beginning of the season and then get battered. I think with it, you can tell definitely that from the back end of last season, where we got found out a little bit by like not having the ball, you can tell that Nuno's trying to change the way we play with a lot more possession ball. Work in progress. We're not 100% there. We're not creating as many chances because we're having a lot of the ball, and it's sort of like when you have the ball, you're going to have to do a lot more breaking down. So I think with it, I don't particularly like us playing four central defenders at the back four. I don't think that works at all. And I think it'd be even more dangerous in the Premier League with fast wingers. But overall, there's some shoots of really good things happening. Sangare has been, for me, probably one of the best players. I was probably disappointed that Jimmy Sinclair didn't have any chance because I thought he played really well in the previously to the Birmingham game, and really good prospects. But I think it's something what when you are changing a complete dynamic of a team, it is, you're going to get results like what happened yesterday. We're very much work in progress, and what is important, we've got 2 pre-season friendlies at City Ground before we kick off, and it'd be good to see if we get some new players in to strengthen the squad, because obviously looking at the bench, if that was our starting 11, very weak on the bench to come onto the pitch and change it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did think that yesterday with the sub bench, like Bard, Woody, and that. I mean, there weren't that much depth. I mean, how do you feel about it, Mr. Turton?
I mean, I don't really look too much into pre-season results anyway. I mean, it's basically just to get fitness up, to try things, to get kind of connection with the players that are there. I mean, I think the thing with a flat back four with the 4 centre backs thing, it just highlights the need to sign a couple of fullbacks for me, because he clearly didn't want to go with just Nico, so he went with 4 across there, probably because Nico's only just coming back from an injury himself. Apparently Olerainer picked up a knock.
Yeah, he did.
So if you've got Ola with a knock, Nico coming back from an injury, and then you're looking at Omar Richards as being your next fullback, I think the mode that I'm in now is incomings need to happen in the next 2 weeks, because you don't want to be going into potentially having maybe a Conference League playoff, maybe not. Who knows? You don't want all these extra games coming in thick and fast with 2 50 to 75% fit fullbacks.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I know we were going to get into transfers anyway, but yeah, I completely agree. I mean, how are you two looking forward to pre-season games down down at Sutton Ground. It'd be nice to be back down there.
I think for me, like, it's always good to have a game at the City Ground and see familiar faces. And it'd be very, very soon the start of the season. And I think with it, if you can see progress, like what Luke was saying, from where we've come in pre-season, a little bit more urgency, a little bit more where the players are getting more gelled. Be good to see like Dan Andoy. I mean, I thought he's got some he's a talented player, and it'd be interesting if we can get some more new players in. Just try and bed them in. For the start of the season. So I think with it, it's just getting them relationships again. I thought I was well for the games what I've been to. The reception from the Forest fans for Morgan Gibbs White has been brilliant. It's he's so that's one thing what I just want to say. I'm personally I'm glad he stayed, because I think that if we can build a team around him, I think we're a lot better position with Morgan in the team than without him.
I mean, how do you feel on it all?
I think really you've got to hope that in the next 2 games we find a way to at least score a goal. I mean, you've got enough players there, and apart from the fullbacks, which I think probably is what hampered the first half, or at least the first half in that Birmingham game. I'm talking like I actually saw the game. I've not actually seen any of the pre-season games. I haven't really had spare money to spend on the live feeds, so I'm just going off what I've read. I think that the lack of fullbacks probably is why we've struggled in that game to create. But you've got wide players. You've still got Anderson, Gibbs White. So really, I'm looking at hopefully seeing at least a goal, because you don't want to leave pre-season goalless. That just to me shows that your creativity is lacking, and when you've still got 3 of the 4 that you had creating last season, that they already know each other, so there shouldn't really be that much of an excuse for them to be not creating. Do you know what I mean?
But we're more like trying to walk the ball in the goal, because we're not sitting back and then having a speed on the counter attack. We're having a lot more possession of the ball, trying different things. Like a few times, Murillo was trying to kick over to the striker. So having more of the ball, what isn't helping is a lot of other teams are sitting back, pressurizing us. So it's a bit.
Yeah. I heard that, but is there not? Do you think that Nuno's got to now look at it and think, okay, well, we want to have more of the ball, because clearly we can't go through another season doing exactly what we did last season.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Is there not a way of getting a mix where you counter with pace, but you still are able to feel comfortable with the ball?
Yeah, I think that's something what they got to do. But both I say Callum Hudson-Odoi and Dan Andoy, they both like to cut in a little bit, so we haven't got the direct, on the wing kind of thing. And I think what don't help not having like Olena and Nico Williams in there, because what has definitely been a clear as day to see was when you haven't got that pace of the fullbacks, it does make it more difficult, because obviously if you look at Morata and Cunha playing at the back. 2 good players, but they haven't got the speed. Like I'm there to go up and down all the time. So, and also they're worried about, well, if I do beat them up, there's no way in this world I'm going to get back to cover if they have a counter attack. So we are missing that link up, definitely with the wing backs, or left back, right back, Ollie and Nico Williams. But in the second half, when Omar Richards came on, we did have we looked a little bit more lively, and then we changed it to play Tyro and also Chris Wood up front, and both of them. I mean, Chris Wood should have scored. He definitely should have scored yesterday. Tyro looked busy. Justice Silva was Justice Silva, but I don't know. For him as a backup for us on there, we haven't got the strength in depth. So definitely that we need new players coming in. But I think this transfer window for a lot of clubs has been really difficult for players to come, unless you're like Liverpool spending fortune, Chelsea, Man United, kind of thing. As you can see, like Newcastle struggling to get anybody.
Yeah, I do think genuinely that this transfer window, it's not out with the Club World Cup and Euros for many players, because obviously they're just coming back from them, and obviously transfer with the transfer fees and all that. Obviously with PSR and do them deals, so this transfer window obviously becoming quite hard for quite a lot of the clubs, especially to do any deals as well. Don't you think?
Well, yes and no. I think for some teams, they are struggling to accept the fact that other teams value players at a certain price, and they have to pay that price or they aren't going to get the player they want. I think that's fairly evident. But this happens every year, okay? July, football fans enter July and they think, right, by the second week in August, we want our whole squad complete. And if it's not complete, then it's a difficult window. How many deals do you see get done in the month of August, and mainly towards the back end of August, when teams have worked out what youth players they want to keep at the club and which ones they don't, and 2, players then think, okay, well, instead of holding out and seeing what other offers come in, I'm going to have to look at the offers that are actually on the table and accept one, or stay at a club and not play. Like, you start to find that towards deadline day, all right, you don't want to leave it that long, ideally, but it happens every year where more players will go towards the back end of a transfer window than they do at the start. Fact.
Yeah, that is a fact, yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I know there has been them reports today talking about Douglas Luiz. The reports coming out of Italy suggesting that he's on his way to England. I know Fabrizio or John Percy not really confirmed it, and it's reports out of Italy suggesting this. But I mean, how much of a player Douglas Luiz will be if we do sign him for that competition, that midfield, like especially if we do play like a diamond in there, and having near the 4 players that are better on the ball than we have had over years.
Well, I think if we get the Douglas Luiz out we got from Aston Villa, we're going to have a baller on hand. 2 things what he can do to definitely improve our team straight away. One is free kicks, set pieces, because and if you had a look at his heat map at Villa compared to what he was at Juventus, it was totally different. So if we can get that kind of player, that gives opportunity for us to have a very. I mean, he's a quality player, and with the loan period, he's got experience in Europe, which will help us whichever competition we're in. And rumours are or whatever. I've seen something that he's following Murillo on Instagram. so, but with it, I think he's a really quality player, and he causes a lot of problems. And to be honest, unless it were PSR, I don't think Villa would have sold him. It was a necessarily sale, like what we had to do with Mangala, Niakate, and things, at the time. So I think with it, sometimes you can move to a club and it doesn't work out. We've had that in the past. We had a fantastic striker in the past years ago called Guy Birtles and Neil Webb. Both went to Man United. Both really didn't do it, came back and was cracking players again for us. So, sometimes a move doesn't work out, but I do think he's a real good quality player, and I think he will also give us something what we haven't got.
I always found Douglas Luiz to be one of those players that was really irritating to face, because he'd always be in that position you didn't want him to be when you were running towards goal. He had that knack of just coming across and stealing the ball out of nowhere. And, I mean, we talk about these free kicks that Douglas Luiz can take. Are we finally probably going to get a player that comes with a decent free kick record and actually deliver? I mean, I am a bit lost at what this scoring from free kicks actually is. It's been that long.
We did have one last season, but obviously he couldn't get into that midfield in World Class to repair. But I know we all have a agenda on World Pass, especially after that Arsenal game. But obviously we did have one. But yeah, I completely agree with Phil. But yeah, I know what you're saying on that, Luke.
I think the other thing that's important is when we're bringing these players in, we've got to make sure they actually fit what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay us going, okay, well, we need a fullback, we need a midfielder, we need a couple of wingers. But we need to actually make sure that we're not going away from what was making us successful last year. And
Luke, saying that, we were successful, but our last game we won was West Ham away.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is up until that point, we can't. Yes, we have to learn from the fact that we ran out of gas in the last 10 games, which was, to be honest, in my opinion, mainly because we didn't add anything in January into key areas, which is what we're kind of all saying is the fact that we need to cover the bases. So you've got a backup in each position that's adequate enough to switch in when you're getting an extra competition to play this year. And adapt the way you play. Adapt the way you play, because, again, we did almost look shell-shocked when we got the ball. And it was like, let's go forward, let's go forward, let's go forward. Every opportunity, it was go forward, which for 50% of the season was extremely exciting. In other games, it was like maybe you could have done a couple more passes first to be a bit more relaxed with it, and then it looks like you're a bit more in control of what you're doing. I think my hesitation is we don't want to go too far to retaining the possession that we lose the identity of what got us to where we were previous.
But we're missing one thing, massive thing, like going forward, is pace. we haven't got anyone with, and it's going to be difficult to replace the pace of like Elanga. And I think Dan and Doig is better with his feet on the ball, dribbling. And I think we're going to have a baller with him, but it's difficult. It's really difficult, and we are changing. You could tell from every pre-season game, from the Chesterfield one to Monaco and to Birmingham, things are differently changing. But I think with it, you're right. We've got to get the players in what we can, not only fit into the dressing room, because I think that's important. And I think that's a massive key. And there's still plenty of time. There's plenty of time. Teams who need to sell will start panicking later on, or the closer the transfer window closes. And it's just not. I think with it, we've also had that spell where we thought, well, Alanga's going, Morgan's going, we're very worried about the season rather than looking forward to it. And I think what hasn't helped us as well, not knowing what European competition we're going to be in, but also make some minds up with some players where they want to go. So I think that hasn't helped us.
Well, there is always that. I mean, the fact that we're going to get to the 11th of August and still, before knowing what competition we're in, to be honest, is a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, could they not have released the decision a bit quicker? Like, they knew about the appeal for at least the past week and a half. They know that the draw for the Conference League is happening tomorrow. Would it not have been an idea to have had the hearing before that draw?
Well, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? And also with that, it's Palace who's causing more delay, because they brought us Nottingham Forest in and Leon in. We weren't going to be there, so like all the Palace fans saying, "Oh yeah, Forest causing trouble." You brought us in there, so if you've been brought into a kind of dispute about anything, you're all going to get your lawyers in. Team there. Do you know what I mean? Because I think really what a Palace will think, well, you know what, we can't wait for kick, and we're being like mind games and using it as a way to try and form.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Forest got the same sort of transfer plan for every competition we're going in anyway? We can't said it quite a lot on these videos, saying that whatever competition we are in, do you think that Forest have got this sort of plan anyway, regardless of we are done bad X, Y, Z for whatever competition we go in?
I think with transfers, I think it's difficult because money is different. The money from being in the two competitions is huge, and that will go against who you want to bring in, what pay. And I think that's another big issue. I think not knowing which one, because I know, Champions League is a lot of money. Your next competition down, is still 45 million pound. The Conference League is, a lot of clubs don't make any money on it. We will sell out if we're in whatever competition because we haven't been in Europe for such a long time. And some fans have never seen us in Europe. So we've got that as a benefit because fans will want to go. But I think with it, because the league is set up that they don't want teams like us or Newcastle breaking in that top six with the financial thing, with the sponsorships and all that, with the money what you can get in. I think it's vital that last thing what we need is getting problems with PSR and then Hamsel like Morgan next year or Murillo or stuff like that. And it's difficult because you've got to build up and I think with it is like everything. I think we've had like set who's our wish list, who do we want to get in, and some of them they won't go, so I think it's difficult, but I'm hoping that we can get some players in, to strengthen the squad who, but again, I think after the 11th, if we know, I think you might see a massive hive of activity, knowing whichever competition win.
Yeah, I completely get you on that. Do you think that as well, Luke?
I think that, to be honest, we probably have got a bit of room anyway because of the amount of outgoings we've had and the amount of money that's come in. I think there's probably a little bit of room in that sense. You do get a lot more if you're in the Europa League, obviously, but I think there is that now gap, if you will, and I think really it's evident that the club want Douglas Luiz, and it's evident the club want Adama Traore, because that's been well reported. They obviously want James McAtee, but I think that's going to take a little bit more of a figure balancing to work out whether that's going to come off or not. The talk from the Liverpool end is that we could be getting Ben Doak on loan, which, I mean, to be honest, if we can secure that one, he looks like an absolute baller too, from watching him at Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
So, and they'll be wanting him to go to a club in the Premier League because it's the next level up, but not a level that's Liverpool level. So, again, there's that aspect. I think the club know where they want to go. I think the actual problem is getting them done, and at a speed that's like you've got 2 weeks before the start of the season starts, and I can see us still trying to do deals after the Brentford game.
Yeah, I can.
But if you can get out of that Brentford game where you've managed to secure another wide player, let's say, and then you've just got the midfield option, unless you get Douglas Luiz done before, that might be more of a simpler one to sort. I don't really know. I don't really take much notice of Italian press. Give me John Percy giving me the details and I'll believe it. If you can get it to a point where you just need maybe a fourth winger and a couple of fullbacks going into the last 2 weeks, fair enough. At that point, you're kind of like, well, you usually get 2 or 3 deals towards the back end of the window anyway. Statistically, the summer deadline day, Forest do something. So it will not surprise me that we do something again this year. But I do think that we need to get a couple more in before the start of the season to be comfortable with the squad that we actually have. You may have to use an Omar Richards in the first couple of games if need be. You may have to be a little bit more cautious over minutes for Nico Williams, let's say, because you don't know how fit he's going to be. Like, I think as well, the other thing that's going to benefit us a little bit more in one aspect is there isn't actually a rush for Dominguez to come back.
No.
Like, no one's mentioned Dominguez for majority of the summer.
I forgot about Dominguez. I thought it was back.
You because he's been injured, and it's like been reported it's going to be mid-September by the time he comes back. But let's not forget, towards the back end of the season, if you didn't select Nico Dominguez, you'd be crazy because he was doing all the legwork in midfield.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So to be fair, to then be sitting here thinking, well, really, we're going into a season, and even now, if you selected Sangare, Anderson, and Gibbs White as your midfield three, I'd be fairly confident with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I mean, I thought he was back anyway, and training. I know he's back doing, obviously getting back into the swing of things for getting match fit and that. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, you could tell most games towards. I mean, you could tell with everyone anyway, but especially Dominguez, because he's like a little Jack Russell, running up and everywhere like that. That I would call him, to be fair. But you could tell how much lead work it does actually do. I know Red Devil United just asked how the transfer window going. We got 3 players in. I mean, we got Adol Jesus, we got Tuna in, we got Adori in. Which, I mean, how do you guys feel about them 3 signings?
Positive, but also what you've also got to think is Matt Sells has got a new contract. We've kept Morgan Gibbs right. Murillo's recently got a new contract. Oleana. So, team. I mean, a lot of teams. I mean, it was like, say, like Oleana, same with Nico Williams. There was teams after both of them. Nico Williams signed his new contract. So when you think about the transfer window, keeping a core of our team, we did really well. We beat teams home and away. We did the double over United, didn't we? We did. Liverpool was lucky to get a point off us in them 2 games. So keeping the core of them players, is really, really key. And I think with the players what we've got in and what are more likely, looking to come in, I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy so far. And there's still, a few weeks left before, it's all done.
Yeah, I mean, keeping Hennessy as well. Obviously, I know he didn't really feature that much, but they always said with Hennessy that the work he does actually do behind the scenes is that it was part of that leadership group, and that how they spoke so highly of Willy Bolly as well. Even though he don't feature as much as everyone else, but the work he does behind the scenes that we don't see, bar probably like your inside Forest and your backstage passes. I mean, them key figures, like you said, crucial to keeping that core, don't you think?
They're gonna, as well, Dan. Also, because we're gonna have more games in Europe, more cup competitions. You're gonna them players, like Willy Bolly and stuff, are gonna have a role to play this season. If it's in the League Cup, the FA Cup, you got them competitions, you got Europe, so there's added pressure on the side, and no matter what competition in Europe, if we play Thursday, Sunday, it's back to like what we did in the Championship, but also with it in the Premier League, it's a lot tougher league, because if it wasn't, everyone would be in it, so you've got all that kind of thing. So I think it's important that, I think in the nucleus of the team, it'd be interesting to see what happens if we get another goalkeeper, because obviously, it came out that Carlos Miguel has been told to find another club, which, in a couple of pre-seasons, games this year, he's played okay. But if that is the case, maybe they're looking to try and get a homegrown player, and that's another thing. What you got to think of. You've got to get homegrown players. So it's okay, everyone's saying, "Oh, we want this player, this player, this player," but if not homegrown as well, that adds another added tax on the price of the player, like McAtee kind of thing. and you've got to get that quota right, and it's difficult. It's going to be difficult to get some. You know, you might get a play where you think, you know what, he'd be really good, but it may not fit in because it's not homegrown.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna finish it, but I sort of know what how you two got to answer this. But I mean, you know, when we played Fulham last weekend, and we had quite a lot of youngsters in and started. I mean, I know pre-season to Premier League completely different. I will say that, and I know it's different. But do you feel like that test that the younger players like Sinclair, Bot, I mean, all them players, do you think that was a good test for them to see how where they are in their development and if they can make that step up?
For me, I think Jimmy Sinclair is, if he doesn't stay with us this season, a good championship loan, because I think I've been really impressed with him. His speed, his passion, his delivery, and I do think, but he's a young lad, and maybe that he does need a loan out, or they might look at him thinking, well, we can't because of homegrown quota, and keep him involved. I could see if he does stay, and he's around the first team, I would imagine that he'd play like League Cup games, that kind of thing. So. It's something what Forest do, don't they? We do bring in some really good players, and I think with it, it's a lot to ask for Matt Sells to play every single game, and I think it's a lot to ask for a real young lad in Bot to come in and take over. And God forsake if we got an injury and the transfer window's over and done with. We have got a lot of goalkeepers on the books, but a lot of them are like, we've got the Chelsea lad, didn't we, and like under 18s, under 21s kind of thing. So we have got a lot of youngsters on there, but have we got enough experience to, to give Matt Sells a break? In a league game, it's difficult. And obviously, if Carlos Miguel has been told to find another club, it's something, something's definitely happened.
I think just to come in on the goalkeeper and the homegrown conversations, well, you don't sell Carlos Miguel before you've got a goalkeeper in. Like,
that's probably what you're gonna look at doing.
Like if you don't get a goalkeeper in, you keep Carlos Miguel, and that negates the need for worry of if Matt Sells gets injured or if Matt Sells can't play every game. You only get rid of Miguel if you are if you've got another replacement already here, so you're confident that you can sell him and not make a difference. That's number one. Number two, this homegrown thing has been a conversation me and Dad have had for the past couple of weeks, because is there something in Europe where you've got to have a certain amount there as well?
Yeah,
like
for them, the minimum in the squad.
Yeah, and I think you'd qualify to a certain degree if you did Yates. I think Williams qualifies.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Adoy would qualify because he came through Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then you could an Abbott. You've basically, I think, you're covered with that to a degree. Before you even start looking down to Bot and Sinclair. So really, it's one of those situations where I think with a squad, you kind of just get the best fit as long as you don't lose an option. Also, I know there's a lot of talk of him going to Blackpool, but he's not left yet. Dale Taylor. He's not left yet, but I don't know how close that is.
They chose them over Plymouth from what it's been reported in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone for $1 million, won't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's one of them ones. I mean, I did have high prospects for him when we first signed him, but fair enough, like, he's probably looking at it thinking, yeah, I had quite a few loan spells. When I get into that first team with the strikers, it'd be a tough ask. I get why he's doing it, because he's thinking about his career and that.
I think with it, Dan, I think if we was in the Championship, then I think he got more of a shout. But the problem is the step up, and we've had that with like the likes of like Julian Lawson, you know, because I've seen him in the academy and absolutely cracking player. Now he's at Burton, you know. So some players sometimes you have to go backwards a step to come forward again.
But yeah,
you know, I think if he does go, we need a really good. Do like what Man City option buyback if need be. Do you know what I mean? Or a very high sell-on clause, because I do think, you know, he's talented because, you know, he plays international. Yes, for Northern Ireland, but you know, I think sometimes it's just that we, you know, things have moved on. You know, I mean, still. Like, look, I mean, it's only, 3 years, this 4 season. We've only got one player still left who played with us in the Championship, Ryan Yates. That's it. You know, and you know, when you think about that, you know, like all the players what we had in, like, from like Samba and everyone involved in that playoff final and the games previously before that, we've only got Ryan Yates left. So, you know, and a lot of the academy players, you know, in that Championship, when we was in the Championship, probably would have got more of a shout now, you know, if we were still in the Championship. But, you know, we've progressed, you know, and yes, last season, fantastic season. And, well, as you know, our owner always wins. And he will want to progress us even more as a team, you know. And like he says, you know, I always win. But that goes all the way from the top all the way down. And if he can have that embedded in the squad, in the team, in the fan base, you know, yes, it will impossible to win every game, but if we can get that mentality in, he wants to win something up for us, and he won't be happy until we does.
Yeah, and not only does he always win, Phil, he also reads his emails too.
Oh yeah, he does, and he also knows that they don't go in spam.
Yeah, or whatever you like to call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, completely agree with you. But yeah, I mean, going to close on that just because obviously you guys read your emails about coming on the show tonight as well, so fair play on you. But yeah, I mean, Luke, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
So I am mainly now based on TikTok, Turton Talks Football on TikTok. Yeah, that's mainly where I'm at now.
And I know you're quite popular under supporters groups anyway on Facebook. In the forest. Yeah,
I am, Dan. I try and be and try and help out as much as I can with everybody. So, and you know, I think you know, the debates what we have is very good. You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing you both in the Lower Bushford, not only for the pre-seasons, but you know, for the games, and another night, at least minimum 19 games that I will see your beautiful faces as such at the City Ground.
Definitely, and the banter we have. I mean, a lot of you guys that do see me in Low Bridgeford, mostly guys that know me that's down there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you two again. I know we've seen each other at Chesterfield anyway.
Yeah, we did, Dan, yes.
But I'm looking forward to seeing you both again. from Tuesday onwards. And any of you guys that are watching, 427 people watching, and looking forward to seeing you guys throughout the season. So do hit that like button on the video on whatever platform. Do subscribe. Get us to 4K on YouTube and get us to 1K on TikTok. But yeah, thank you for watching. As per usual, guys. Thank you to the guys for coming on.
You're welcome.
No worries.
So I'll catch you all later.